And today's show is being brought to you by Rainbow, and Rainbow is good bread. On last Sunday, I told you about the installation of Reverend John Lewis Meshack, the pastor of the Tabernacle Baptist Church. And many of you have called me this week to know why I didn't tell the whole story. As a professional news reporter, I can only report facts as I have seen. When I left the Tabernacle Baptist Church last Sunday, Dr. W.K. Jackson, the pastor of the St. John's Baptist Church, was speaking. I could not report to you the charge that was given to Tabernacle Baptist Church by Reverend Eddie Baker, pastor of the Tabitha Baptist Church. What I had to do was to go back and check to make sure that Reverend Baker did that. And today I'm happy to report to you that the charge to Tabernacle Baptist Church was given by Reverend Eddie Baker. A charge to Reverend John Lewis Meshack was given by Reverend Floyd D. Harris, the pastor of the Mount Tabor Baptist Church in Dallas, Texas. There was an installation prayer by Reverend James O. Bradford, the pastor of the Fifth Street Baptist Church. The presentation of keys was given by the chairman of the Board of Deacons of the Tabernacle Baptist Church, Deacon T.C. Howard. And then there were gifts. Gifts presented by Mrs. Helen Howard, chair lady of the Deaconess Board of the Tabernacle Baptist Church. Reverend Gory James, your councilman, Ward 7, and the pastor of the St. Mary's CME Methodist Church gave an official welcome to the Meshack family. And that was a response by Reverend John Lewis Meshack of the Tabernacle Baptist Church. And the benediction was given by Reverend B.T. Wilson. It's interesting to note that there was a reception that was given in the fellowship hall. I would like to congratulate once again the members and the friends of the Tabernacle Baptist Church as Tabernacle received their 14th pastor. Pastor number 14. Well, I'm so glad. If I were pastoring the church, I'd hate to be pastor number 13. Clara Luper reporting. Now today I would like to dedicate this program to a doctor. Dr. Richard McPherson. This is your program. Dr. Richard McPherson is a local pharmacist coming to Oklahoma City from Ardmore, Oklahoma after completing his education at the University of Colorado. Started in Oklahoma City on Northeast 2nd Street and moved to 6th and Lottie, and finally Urban Renewal moved him to 27th and Martin Luther King Avenue. How can you tell the story of a man that left Colorado, who has had many opportunities as a pharmacist to really go anywhere in the United States and make it, but who decided to stay in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma? This is your program, Richard McPherson, the Honorable Dr. Richard McPherson. The NACP community got together today for an attendance rally, which was held at the East 6th Street Christian Church. Mr. Andrew M. Francisco, the minister of music there, presented music. The Reverend Robert L. Brown, the pastor, did a special prayer today. The program, people, was headed by Mrs. Nadella H. Foster, who's principal of the Webster Fifth Year Center in Oklahoma City, and Mr. Ira D. Hall, the chairperson of the program, presided. Mrs. Louise Mitchner, the vice president of the Oklahoma City NACP chapter, discussed the occasion, and then there were awards. Mr. Leslie B. Brown, the president of the Oklahoma City NAACP chapter, presented, along with Mrs. Connie Johnson, the following awards. To Dr. Adaloy Scipia, a special award for eliminating the unconstitutional one-room Oklahoma law school for blacks, opening the doors to all of the universities for students, regardless of race, creed, or color. To Mrs. Emma Lee Freeman for elimination of the unconstitutional inequities in black teachers' salaries in Oklahoma City public schools. That meant that Mrs. Emma Lee Freeman, who is now Mrs. Emma Lee O'Neill, stood in front of Judge Vaught and told her story that white teachers received a higher pay than black teachers in the Oklahoma City school system. Mrs. Ruby Hall was given a home sacrifice award because she helped in eliminating segregation in housing in the United States. You know, Mr. and Mrs. Ira D. Hall was thrown out of their home on 7th Street. Clara Luper was presented an award for eliminating segregation in public places. I was at my church today, but my award was accepted by one of my students, Glendale Brown, who accepted my award. Glendale Brown related some experience. In fact, he said that he was one of the sit-inners. And he told a story about how we told him to practice nonviolence. But one day a man spit in his face and he forgot his lesson. Glendale Brown explained to them that if Clara Luper had been here, she would want me to say thanks. And thank you, Glendale Brown, for accepting that award for me today. Mr. Wallace Johnson solo was outstanding. And in that big address, Dr. Melvin R. Todd, the Vice Chancellor of the Oklahoma State Regions for Higher Education, spoke. Now, Dr. Todd said, and I want you principals to challenge him on this statement. He asked a question. When have you heard a principal in Oklahoma City? When have you heard a principal speak out against anything? He also warned the crowd that was there against neo-racism, stating that if we are not careful, we will be surprised because racism will arrive in a different form. Yes, this is the Clara Luper Radio Show. It's really getting cold outdoors, and we've got to get everything together. One thing that I want you to do is to take care of your automobile. Did you know that you could go to the Capital Tire and Automotive Company located at 23rd North Kelly, and you can get your car winterized for $17.95. Your car can be winterized for $17.95. They will check the hose, the battery, the transmission fluid, a thorough check of everything. This is what you call taking your car to the doctor for the cold weather. Now, when you go to Capital Tire and Automotive Incorporated, be sure and tell them you heard it on the Clara Luper Radio Show. Now, listen, let me tell you. They have Arriva, Victor, Tiempo, M&S. Now, if you don't know what that means, I want you to go there. You will not believe it until you see it for yourself. They will give you a winterized special, $17.95. Now, what I want you to do is to be sure and go in the morning. Now, if you want your car winterized, you don't have to worry about it. It will only take a few minutes. You don't have to worry. All you will have to do is to take your cars to, and your trucks, your trailers, take them all to the Capital Tire and Automotive Company, located at 23rd and Kelly here in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. I have asked those of you out in radio land to support the people that make this program possible. And today I'm appealing to the businesses in Oklahoma City. I want you to do me a special favor. When you get ready to purchase tires for the automobiles and the trucks that you own, I want you to go by Capital Tire and Automotive Company. This is the first time in the history of Oklahoma City that you have an opportunity to support a minority business. I don't want you telling me how much you love me. And incidentally, I was interviewing a man the other day about family life. How does it go? And this man told me that, I'm true to my wife for the first time. I'm so much better than I used to be. And I was just glowing because I knew this man was going to tell me how much he loved his wife. And he said, I'm a businessman and I have always had somebody on the side, but now I'm really living a decent life. I said, that is just so wonderful. I'm so proud of you. And then he looked at me with a shy smile. He said, well, AIDS have brought a lot of us home. Clara Luper reporting, KAEZ Radio in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. I would like to acknowledge my listeners down at the Joseph Harp Correctional Center in Lexington, Oklahoma. I received a lovely letter from Vernon Dangerfield, and he was telling me about a special program. He told me that the Greater Galilee Baptist Church of Lawton, Oklahoma, and soloists from Wewoka and Duncan, Oklahoma will be there. So each month, these young people stage a religious activity. Now, he wanted me to tell you that this would be on Tuesday, November the 12th at 6:30 p.m. Now, those of you who aren't in the penitentiary cannot go down there and hear that. So that will be for those that are in that area. And I would like for all of you out there to go. I have a very lovely lady here who's dressed just like Princess Diana. You know, when the princess arrived in America, she had on her red suit. And here's Miss Roberts today in a beautiful red suit. How are you today, Mrs. Roberts?
Fine, Mrs. Luper.
I've invited you here because you represent what organization?
The Urban League Guild of Greater Oklahoma City.
Oh, that's great. What is the purpose of the Urban League Guild?
The purpose of this organization is to encourage and assist and engage in activities of cultural, civic, and social nature, which will publicize and further the general well-being of the Urban League movement, locally and nationally. This is done by sponsoring forums, lectures, various meetings, exhibits, teas, fashion shows, and parties, and the distribution and interpretation of league literature and materials. The activities of our organization strive not to interpretate or interfere with other bona fide social fundraising organizations in the community.
Now, what do you do with the funds that are raised by the Guild?
We sponsor some of the projects that we do sponsor are the Ebony Fashion Show, Black and White Charity Ball, Pal Day for Handicapped Children, Senior Citizens Outing, Thanksgiving baskets, art exhibits, membership teas, Adopt a Shelter program for battered women.
That really sounds interesting. So you are part of the Urban League. Is that true?
This is true.
Now, I am very interested in whether or not you are a segregation or an integrated organization.
No, we are not.
No, you're not what? You're not segregated or you're not integrated?
We have a membership which is interracial in nature and in keeping with the interracial pattern of the Urban League. Any member who is an Urban League member and subscribe to the objectives of the Urban League Guild may become a member upon payment of membership dues.
How much are membership dues?
The dues are $5.
So if I'm any color, any style, I can become a member of the Urban League?
Yes, you may.
How am I to find out what your objectives are?
You may come to our meetings. We have a meeting every first Saturday of each month at 12 o'clock at the Urban League Guild office, which is located at Martin Luther King Avenue and 30th Street.
I would really like to spend a night in Casablanca. Tell me how I can spend a night there.
I would be just delighted to tell you. An elegant night in Casablanca is being sponsored by the Urban League Guild of Greater Oklahoma City, which will consist of fun, friends, frolic, and food. It will be November the 30th, 1985, this year, and at 9 p.m. to 1 a.m. The location will be the Home Builders at 625 Northwest Expressway.
All right. Now, I want to make sure I understand the date, and that date is what?
November the 30th.
And where?
Home Builders Association, 625 Northwest Expressway.
I can afford that. How much does it cost?
It is $20 per person.
Oh, $20 per person, just $40 a couple.
$40 a couple.
Oh, that should be interesting. Now, it is true that you will be sponsoring an elegant night in Casablanca. That is true.
This is true.
And the donations from that will go to help the Urban League and the program that they are sponsoring. Is that correct?
It's a scholarship event.
Well, I understand that you're also associated with a golf tournament. Is that true? Oh, you aren't associated with a golf tournament. But I just wonder what kind of event you're talking about.
We are talking about a charitable benefit event, and where you are the grand winner. So just come out and enjoy the evening with each and every one and your friends. Meet your friends at the Home Builders Association. Again, November the 30th, 1985 at the 625 Northwest Expressway.
Well, certainly, where can we secure tickets?
You may secure the tickets at the Urban League office, which is located at Martin Luther King Avenue and 30th Street, or you may call 427-6662.
All right.
Theopa Roberts.
All right. Ask for Mrs. Roberts, and Mrs. Roberts, you will be available. What hours can we call you?
From 9 until 5 or 6 or just any time.
Oh, just
I am
call
available.
anytime and tell her that you want your ticket. Now, you say the affair would be $20. How do you dress for an affair like that?
We're asking that you would wear after 5.
Oh, after 5.
After 5.
Well, I'm really happy you said after 5 because once I put my dress on, it will be after 5. Thank you so very kindly for being my distinguished guest here today.
I would like to thank you and your radio audience for listening.
Okay, those of you that want a ticket now, you need to have an elegant night in Casablanca. There you can have fun, you can meet your friends, and you can eat food at an elegant night in Casablanca, exactly 9 o'clock p.m., November the 30th, 1985. Be sure and remember now, go to that Urban League, Gill, and have yourself a ball. ANHA, refrigeration and air condition. Taking care of your appliances, it doesn't make any difference. And also your plumbing needs. 24-hour service, all makes and models repaired in your home. All you have to do is to call Harold Green and Perry Blackburn. Now that telephone number is 843-1159. Haywood Hill is a businessman. Business is in his bones, and certainly he has expressed that through the years as he has operated his own carpet shop. Sales and installations are his specialties. Haywood Hill Carpets, 1931 Northeast 23rd Street. You may call 427-5411 from 8 to 6 p.m. Open 5 days a week from 9 to 5 p.m. I want you to notice the new location, 1931 Northeast 23rd Street. Now, while you're at Haywood Hills Carpet getting your carpet, you can buy you a new home. Yes, it's a Red Carpet Haywood Hill Realty Company. Financial services are available. Own mortgage company. Secure your loans in a very short time. Immediate contact. He can get you the best rates and creative financing. He can make the deal work through creative financing. That's the Haywood Hill Carpets here in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Dr. Richard McPherson, this is your show, and I hope you are enjoying it. So many of you have called me and you want tape copies of my radio broadcast. Certainly you may get it. All you have to do is to call my sweet husband, Mr. Charles P. Wilson, and at 424-3949 and tell him that you want a copy. It is that simple. Certainly today we're talking about a pharmacist who has certainly made good and who has certainly made a contribution to Oklahoma. And as you travel and as you have your prescriptions filled, I would like for you to go to McPherson's prescription shop. He will even deliver in times like this. That's at 30th and Martin Luther King Avenue. I want to see Lady Ruth Hunter's face. Ladies and gentlemen, last week Lady Ruth Hunter made a statement on the Clara Luper radio show. The statement was very, very sincere. She stated that she was coming to Fifth Street Baptist Church and she was going to sit on the front seat. Now, let me tell you what happened. Lady Ruth did come to Fifth Street Baptist Church, but she didn't sit on the front seat. And the chairman of the deacon board, Deacon Robert Wilson, called her attention publicly to the fact that she stated on this radio show that she was going to sit on the front seat. And whenever she gets here, I'm going to make her apologize to all of you for not sitting on the front seat because I don't want to be caught in a peculiar position. When you hear it on the Clara Luper radio show, it has to have some weight. Now, can you imagine the people at Fifth Street Baptist Church looking for Lady Ruth Hunter on the front seat, and she was not on the front seat? So many times we want to know answers. We want to know answers to some of the questions that are affecting us in Oklahoma City. And because of that, today I have the opportunity to talk to one of our leaders in this city. Mr. Sconzo, how are you today?
Just fine, ma'am, just fine.
Well, I'm so happy you are fine because I wanted you to come here today. I want to know first, what position do you hold in the federal government?
I'm the director of the Community Action Agency of Oklahoma City and Oklahoma Canadian counties.
Oh, now you'll pull a county on me. You are the director of the Oklahoma City, and what else?
And Oklahoma and Canadian counties.
When did you add Canadian County
About
to
a
it?
year and a half ago.
Oh, I'm a year and a half behind. Well, that's not too far. Because sometimes, that's not too bad, but I'm not like Lady Ruth Hunter. I'll tell you. That's what I say about Lady Ruth Hunter. Now, Mr. Sconzo, I invited you here because you have told me that you are the director. You are the executive director of the community action agencies. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
What does that mean?
That means that I am responsible for administering of the agency and the programs that is under the Community Action Agency.
You are responsible for administering those programs.
Yes, I am.
What are some of those programs?
We have a multitude of excellent programs, and we serve low-income personnel of this city. We have Head Start. We have 1,000 children, 3 to 5 years old. We have emergency home
Okay, now
repair.
don't take me too fast.
All right.
You're saying you have Head Start.
Yes, ma'am.
Who directs your Head Start program?
The Head Start director is Miss Carolyn Shaw.
All right. What else do you have?
We have emergency home repair program, which takes care of repairs for electrical, plumbing, and carpentry that are health and welfare problems.
Okay, so if I'm poor, I can get some help from that angle.
That's right.
How poor do I have to be?
We have income guidelines for each program set by the federal government. And if you're interested, you call or come to Community Action, and we'll certainly let you know if you're eligible.
I am sure interested because we have what is known as a new poor people.
Yes,
and those
ma'am.
are the working people. Now, you have that program.
Yes, ma'am.
What else do you have?
We have weatherization. We weatherize houses. We do about 450 houses a year.
Okay, you weatherize houses. What do you mean?
We put in insulation, storm windows, stop infiltration, and make the house overall more warm in the winter and cooler in the summer.
Who do you do that for?
We do that for the low-income people.
The low income. Now, when you say low income, what are you talking about? The teachers' salaries?
No, we're talking about salaries that the United States government sets income guidelines.
Okay, now the United States government will say what is a low income. What's low income?
Low income probably is a person in one program that makes less than $5,000 a year. And then by family and by size, it varies.
Oh, all right. Then we have that program, the weatherization program. What else do we have?
We have transportation of senior citizens to meal sites. We transported 29,000 senior citizens last year to meal sites.
Does that mean that you pick up senior citizens at their home and take them?
To the meal sites, we absolutely do.
How do people know about that service?
They're publicized through the meal sites, and we're publicized through our community workers, which we reach our clients throughout the city.
Okay, you reach your clients and you say, okay, get ready. We'll come and pick you up and take you to eat. Then you take them back home?
We take them home, yes, ma'am.
Okay, now what time is that meal?
The meal is usually at noon. It depends on the site. The meal sites vary from approximately 10 to 2. They run 4 hours a day, and then they have other activities at meal sites besides just eating.
The meal sites might vary, but the site remain the same at Enterprise Square Place. You may save money, gasoline, and time by going to Enterprise Square Place. Oh, what a deal. You will be glad you did. 4901 North Martin Luther King Avenue is a place. It's called Enterprise Square Place. It's first class, and you are safe at last at Enterprise Square Place. 4901 North Martin Luther King Avenue. One stop does it all. You can buy your automobile tags, pay your utility bills, mail your packages. You can even rent a post office box. Yes, you can do that at 4901 North Martin Luther King. There's a laundromat. And then, if you don't want to do your own laundry, they will do it for you at Sherry's Cleaners. You can take your cleaners at Sherry's, take it in the morning, and get it out in the evening. That's 4901 North Martin Luther King Avenue here in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. I want you to go by this week. I just want you to go by and see for yourself. You will not believe it till you see it, and certainly believing is seeing. I'm so happy to be able to tell you about about Enterprise Square Place. I'm talking to a man that certainly is making news, and I'm going right back to him after this announcement. The announcement is very simple today, and the announcement comes as a thank you announcement from Shaw's Siesta Motel, located at 1921 Northeast to 23rd Street here in Oklahoma City. The Shaws are the first ones to operate a Western Union office on the northeast part of Oklahoma City. Now, if you're going to send some money, you're going to wire someone some money, you want to send a telegram or a nightgram, all I want you to do is to go to Shaw's Siesta Motel, located at 1921 Northeast to 23rd Street here in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. I'm talking to Mr. Sconzo, the Executive Director of the Community Action Program. Sir, tell me about your other programs.
We have drug and alcohol programs for low-income clients.
You have what?
A drug and alcohol program.
Oh, I want to know about that program. Who directs it?
That's Mr. John Mayfield, is the director of the drug and alcohol program. We work with a lot of low-income clients. Also, we work with the Oklahoma City Public Schools, this program.
Well, certainly, what does this program do?
It's an outpatient program where we attempt to integrate the client and the family in a program to get them to certainly understand that drug and alcohol is not the way of life.
Oh, so you have a better way of life to offer them.
We certainly do.
What is that?
Not to get on drug and alcohol, and that it will not satisfy any problems or make your problems any easier, and that drug and alcohol is not the way to go.
Do you think that program is effective in Oklahoma City?
I think it's very effective, but we just touched the tip of the iceberg because we're limited by the funds we have.
Oh, you're limited by the funds.
We're limited by funds for all programs.
Okay, well, let's not talk about the limitation of funds now. Let's go into your next program.
All right, we have summer youth programs where we have softball, basketball, and very cultured things. We had 1,476 children this summer in summer youth programs.
Now, when you say in summer youth programs, what do you mean? Participating in the program actively?
That's right. We have programs where we have people at our centers. They've had softball tournaments. They've had reading classes and a multitude of tours to the Capitol and places for kids during the summer.
Okay. Do you have anything else?
We also issue butter and cheese every month. We've had summer fan programs.
Okay, let's talk about the butter and cheese. Where do you issue butter and cheese?
At our centers. We have 5 community centers throughout the county.
How do you get some of that butter and some of that cheese?
Well, they're also by income guidelines. Everything we do is by income guidelines.
So that leaves that leaves the poor teachers out.
That probably leaves the poor teachers out.
Okay, so that butter and cheese. Well, anyway, I have some friends that get some butter, and when I want to get me some butter and some sorghum syrup, I know where to go. Now, what else do you have?
Well, we have community services, which we satisfy the immediate needs of the poor with regard to food, clothing, shelter, and utilities every day, the basic needs of life. We also work with 30 organized neighborhoods to help them improve the quality of life within their neighborhood.
Now, Mr. Sconzo, you didn't come here to tell me that you have organized some neighborhoods in this city.
I have not organized neighborhoods personally. The neighborhoods organize themselves, and they're interested in bettering their life, and we provide them training and technical assistance.
Oh, you provide that. How much do you charge those neighborhoods for that kind of information?
We charge them nothing. That's part
You
of
don't
our
charge
mission.
them anything?
Not a penny.
And that's part of your mission?
That's right.
Okay, what else do you do?
We have other programs that we help the poor. We refer many people. We help many people during Christmas time. We're affiliated with the Christmas Connection, the Salvation Army, and we refer and help over 1,000 families each year for the help of Christmas.
Okay, now how do you get Christmas help?
Christmas help is also through application and through income guidelines, and we try to take the very, very needy first. We cannot serve everybody, but we try to take the hardcore cases first.
Okay, you can't serve everybody, but I know one thing. The Crawford Fish Company can serve everybody. They have something that's really outstanding and unique, and I want to tell you about it. Crawford Fish Company is located at 1300 Northeast 6th Street. It works in a unique way. For example, if you want to buy some fish, you can either buy live fish, Can you imagine going out to Crawford's Fish Company, buying a channel catfish live, wiggling their tails? Channel catfish at Crawford's, 1300 Northeast 68th Street. Now, when I go out to Crawford's to buy my fish, I don't want those live catfish. I want Crawford to dress my catfish and have my catfish ready. And let me tell you, all you'll have to do is a call 478-5890. Tell them how many pounds of catfish or buffalo fish you want, and they will have it dressed when you arrive. Now, Mr. Sconzo, what I want you to do is to go get you some good old channel catfish out to Crawford's, 1300 Northeast 68th Street, 478-5890. Now, that fish is priced at the prices that poor people can afford. That's at Crawford. Be sure and tell them you heard it on the Clara Luper radio show. Now, as we talk, do you have any more programs, Mr. Sconzo?
That's basically our major programs. We help people and the poor and anything we can within these two counties.
Okay, now you're telling me that you help people. You're telling me about the programs that you have. Now, for the $1,000 question, do you have segregation within your agency?
There's no segregation within the agency.
There's no segregation within the Community Action Program.
The agency is an integrated agency with white and black and every kind of race there is. That's what our mission is.
Okay, you're saying you have in whites and blacks. Okay, all right. I've heard that before, Mr. Sconzo. But do you have them in important positions?
I have minorities in very important positions.
Okay, for example?
My top division director slots, 4 are filled by minorities.
How many do you have in all?
I have 5.
You have 5 and you have 4 minorities filling those spots.
Absolutely.
Who are those minorities?
Curtis Williams is my home repair and maintenance chief. Jackie Edwards is my deputy director and community services. Carolyn Shaw is my Head Start director. Mr. Nagusi is my chief physical officer. They're the 4 minorities. And the other one is a white female named Joan Pitts.
All right, now you have 5, and of the 5, 4 are black.
That's right.
Now, you're telling me that you don't have segregation within your agency. That's what you're telling me, right?
That's right.
All right, now, what other positions do you have blacks in?
There's 30 supervisory positions in the Community Action Agency. 22 of those are filled by minorities.
All right, now you have, just a minute now, you have 30 what?
Supervisory
You
positions.
have 30 supervisors.
Yes.
And then of the 30, how many are black?
22.
22. It seems like you have reverse discrimination, do you?
I don't think I do.
Okay. Now you are telling that audience out there that you have 30 positions, and of the 30, 22 are black.
That's what I'm
Do
telling
they
them.
receive supervisory pay? Or
Yes.
is that just a name?
It's supervisory pay.
All right, now, it has been stated in this community that you have discriminated against a group at the Community Action Program.
That's absolutely false, and I think my record speaks for itself.
Oh, your records speak for yourself.
Yes, ma'am.
You have that record out where anyone can see it.
Absolutely.
All right, now, how do I get a bad rating from you if I were on that job?
Well, I don't personally rate everybody.
Oh, you don't rate everybody, so therefore, if I couldn't say that you rated me wrong.
That's right.
Who rates?
My,
Who doesn't rate?
my directors rate my employees, and I rate my directors.
Okay, now, let's suppose now that I was working there, and what would I have to do to get a bad rating?
You'd have to do a bad job.
Oh, a bad job like what?
Like not do your job, come
Not
to
do
work
my
late.
job, not come to work, come to work late.
Not follow orders.
Oh, not follow whose orders?
The orders of their supervisors.
So I don't follow orders, I come to work late, and then I get a bad rating.
Absolutely.
Suppose I do all that, what do I get?
You get an excellent rating.
An excellent rating. What would that mean to me?
That would mean you could certainly get promotions and merit raises.
And have, according to your record, and you say you stand on your record, then could I go down and look and see if those that have had satisfactory and excellent performance rating, could I see if they got promoted?
You could certainly do that.
All right, now how in the world could anybody, you're saying you have given us the figures. How could anybody say that you were segregating against them?
I don't know.
Okay, you don't know. But I know one thing. Reagan did exactly what he promised to do, and I'll be back with Mr. Sconzo in just a minute. In the meantime, I can hardly wait to get Lady Ruth Hunter over here. Lady Ruth Hunter told something. My deacon really got her today, and that's really news. Those of you in Oklahoma City, you're very fortunate because in Oklahoma City, we have funeral home directors that really care about you. Roth Funeral Home located at 1801 North Roth Avenue. A funeral home that's celebrating its 50th anniversary. A funeral home that's more than a funeral home, a part of this community. We have the McKay Davis Funeral Home located at 1616 Northeast 36th Street here in Oklahoma City. A funeral home with skilled workers. Temple and Son Funeral Home located at 2801 North Kelly Avenue here in Oklahoma City. The Pilot Funeral Home in Spencer, Oklahoma. And from all of the funeral homes and directors in Oklahoma City, they say to you, happy harvesting season. Happy harvesting season. You need a haircut. Why don't you go to Mr. Gates? Not only can he cut your hair, but he will sing you a tune. He sings at in the Tabitha Baptist Church's choir. That's Robert Gates at 2609 North Eastern Avenue here in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. I'm talking to Mr. Sconzo. I'm talking to Mr. Sconzo, the executive director of the Community Action Program. Now, Mr. Sconzo, have you been affected by any cuts?
We've absolutely been affected very, very hard by cuts.
Well, President Reagan told you that he was going to cut the budget.
Yes, he did. He did.
He kept his word, didn't he?
He kept his word.
All right, he cut the budget, right?
Yes, he did.
The people in Oklahoma voted for him 100% just about, didn't they?
I think they did.
Now tell me how he cut the budget as it affects your agency.
He's cut my budget $700,000 in 4 years. $700,000.
What does that mean in terms of employees?
That means less employees and less help for the poor.
Well, how do you go out? What do you say when you walk into your meeting and say, look, I got to cut someone? Who do you cut?
Well, it's not easy. You got to look at the agency and cut who you think won't affect the mission the most. It's not easy to cut anybody.
Oh, it's not easy. It's very difficult.
It's very difficult.
So you're going to see what?
I'm going to see that I can serve as many poor as I can with the people and the money I got. And we have to place the people the best where we can.
Does that mean that your staff is working overtime?
My staff has carried more load and working overtime.
Do they get extra pay?
They get competent time for it, yes.
Oh, get competent time. What does
Yes.
that mean?
That means they get, if they work 3 hours over, then they get time and a half on time off for that.
Oh, they get time off. They don't get the dollars.
That's right.
That are needed to get them out of poverty.
Right.
Do you have a person working there by the name of Leslie Brown?
Yes, I do.
What kind of work is he?
Leslie's the EEO officer and my special project officer.
What is a special? I want to know what kind of worker is Leslie Brown? Does he come to work on time?
Leslie
Does
Brown.
he do his job?
Leslie Brown's an excellent worker. There every day. An older fella, never can always depend on Leslie Brown. He'll do anything I ask him, from drive a truck to sweep the floor.
Oh, that's what you ask him.
I don't ask him, but he would.
Okay, well, what does he do?
He's my EEO officer, takes care of complaints, also does special projects, and represents me at many meetings.
Do you have many complaints against Leslie Brown?
I have very few complaints against Leslie Brown.
Okay, do you have anyone on your staff named Anna Balcom?
I do.
Tell me about her. What kind of worker is she?
Annie Balker's a community worker, an excellent worker, very reliable, works with the Northeast neighborhood part of the city, and does an excellent job.
Does she come to work on time?
You betcha.
All right, I wanted to know about that. She gets paid, right?
Yes, ma'am.
I want to know about that because Christmas is coming, and for the past 25 years, she's always baked me a cake and delivered it on Christmas Eve.
She's an excellent cook.
So
Excellent.
I just don't want her cut. Now, what do you think that this community can do to help in your fight against poverty?
I think the community, we need a lot of volunteers. We need to help each other. We got to look at each other and say, some of us are underprivileged. We've got to get and help them and pull them up by their bootstraps. The people have got to work closer and closer together more than ever, and we can't just do it ourselves. There'll never be as much money for social service as there have been, and the people themselves have to join together to help each other.
Helping each other is certainly something that's in the vocabulary of Dr. A.L. Dow. Dr. Dow wants you to know that if you're on welfare, you can get glasses and the government will pay for it. Is that true?
That's true.
That's true. So no child has any business going to school suffering because of the low income situation in which he or she is in.
That's right.
Okay, so therefore, if you could go to an optometrist, you can get your eyes tested free. How about other people that are poor? Just like the senior citizens, can they get their eyes tested free?
I think senior citizens can get a discount on eyes. I don't believe they get free glasses. Through our Head Start program, we do a lot of that for children age 3 to 5.
For children from 3 to 5. How about the junior high school students?
Junior high, we're not into that right now.
Okay, you're not into that. But you know that if children are on welfare, well, I know that. I know they can go, and I would certainly go to Dr. Dowell at 934 Northeast 8th Street, but you have to call him for an appointment. His telephone number is 235-0536. If you want to play bingo, go to the House of Bingo, 3613 North Everett Street. Go to the House of Bingo and play bingo until you win as much money as you want. Yes, this is the Clara Luper Radio Show. This is KAEZ Radio in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. This is a station in which Lady Ruth Hunter stated that she was going to sit in the front of the church on the front seat, and that's her exact words, and she didn't, and the deacon called her attention to it. Well, one thing about those deacons at Fifth Street Church, they say what they think, and they did it to her face. You never get a second chance to make a first impression, custom tailored to measure for men and women. Come by, call 733-7600. Sir Charles the Taylor, Tailoring and Alteration, 6225 Southeast 15th Street in Midwest City, Oklahoma. The telephone number is 733-7600. This portion of our program is brought to you by the M&W Welding Company, 2601 Northeast 23rd Street in Oklahoma City. If you need some burglar bars, call 424-1482 in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. The M&J's Furniture Company is located at 910 Northeast 14th Street. If you are looking for a specific foreshadowing furniture to complement that special room in your home, or if you're looking for something that's unique, something that's different, and you want to enhance your decor, don't call. Go down to 910 Northeast 4th Street to your neighborhood furniture store. M&J's Furniture Company, 910 Northeast 4th Street. The store hours, Tuesdays to Fridays from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. On Saturdays from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. Closed on Sundays and Mondays. That's the M&J Furniture Company, 910 Northeast 4th Street. And tell them you heard it on the Clara Luper Radio Show. Nash Mitchell's Bonding Company is located at 2319 North Lottie Street. The telephone number is 427-8199. City bonds and county bonds. Yes, he can get you out of jail. Nash Mitchell's Bonding Company here in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. I'm talking to Mr. Sconzo. If any of you have any questions out in Radio Land, I would like for you to call him, and I'd be happy to ask the questions that you won't ask. Now, let me see. You've explained to me how you go about deciding who you're going to cut. Is that right?
Yes.
You have done that.
I have done that.
You go by, and do you worry because you had to lose $700,000 worth of help?
I worry a lot.
Okay, well, you better tell your people they better register and vote because President Reagan made it crystal clear. If you vote for me, I'm going to cut the budget. And anybody can read and know that community action program was in the budget. And the man did exactly what he said. He didn't do like Lady Ruth Hunter. Lady Ruth Hunter said she was going to sit on the front seat, but she didn't. Holiday greetings are extended to you from Soloway's, located in Oklahoma City. We extend special holiday greetings and thanks from Stale's Restaurant, located in the heart of the east side on North 1100 Northeast 36th Street here in Oklahoma City, and order you some meat. Now, don't complain to me that you don't have any money. Well, you don't need much money. Now, I know you have some money. I went to one store and bought something, and then I went over to Cole Meat Company just to compare prices, and I saved me some money, and I have that money in my pocket right now. If you want to save some money and eat some good meat, go to Cole Meat Company, 1100 Northeast 36th Street in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Do you have someone to keep your taxes and keep your book work? Do you have someone that will take care of your inventory? Do you have an accountant? I can tell you where you can get a great accountant. Mr. Paul Lewis, located at 2424 North Jordan. Call him at 427-9810. You don't know how to fix your income tax, or maybe you are cheating yourself. I know you aren't cheating the government. Go to Paul Lewis, now 2424 North Jordan, here in Oklahoma City. The telephone number is 427-9810. I would like to ask you to do me a favor this week, too. If you're thinking about furniture, go by Mathis Furniture Company, 3434 West Reno, and tell them that you heard it on the Clara Luper radio show. And incidentally, Mathis Furniture has joined us as one of our advertisers on another station that I'm on at 2:30 on Saturdays, and I know many of you will be visiting with me. Well, Mrs. Sconzo, have I been kind to you today?
You've been very kind, and I appreciate you inviting me.
Well, I would like to thank you for coming in today and explaining your agency to the people. And if anybody got any other different information, I would like to have it. I had a young lady to call me, and I asked her to bring me the information over in writing. She hadn't gotten here. And I want you that are out that disagree with Mr. Sconzo, I want to tell you that you may come out to Clara Luper's radio show, but do like Mr. Sconzo. Bring the facts with you, because I don't want to be in a position of my sorority sister, Letty Ruth. I don't want to have to get on this radio and apologize. Thank you so very kindly for being my guest.
Thank you.
This portion of our program is brought to you by Marilyn Hildred and Allstate Insurance an agent for Allstate Insurance Company. Marilyn has been elected as the representative or the spokesperson for Allstate Insurance Company, and she would like to thank you. I better thank Mr. Sconzo for participating in the Soul Bazaar before you leave. Mr. Sconzo, I forgot. I want to thank you for your support of the Soul Bazaar, and I want to tell you the Soul Bazaar 86 is May 2nd and 3rd. And I just want you to know how much we appreciate what you have done for the Soul Bazaar for the past years.
Well, it's my pleasure, and it's a good thing, and we agree, and glad to do it in the future.
Well, I'm sure glad we agree, and I'm sure glad he's glad to do it. That's what I like. You know, some of my best friends are white. I know they are my best friends, because when I ask them for something, it really makes them happy. And I'm going to ask some of my friends for something else. I think I'll give a big party like I did, Letty, and invite some of my good friends or my rich ones. You remember when I gave that party and served them all water, and they come asking questions about food?
That's right. I remember that.
Well, Letty, before you speak on this program, it was true that last Sunday you stated that you were going to come to Fifth Street Baptist Church to hear me speak, and you were going to sit on the front seat. I would like for you to apologize.
That really is true. That was my intention, and I arrived early, and I was there in plenty of time. And as I entered the church, I went down the front, and I wanted to tape it so I could call it history. So therefore, I had to find a plug to plug my tape recorder in, and they pointed to the back. And I went to the back, and you won't believe, when I went back there and I plugged it in, and evidently the plug didn't work, or the tape recorder didn't work. And I sat back there and I worked, I know, for hours trying to get that tape recorder to work. It was working when I left home, and when I plugged it in, it did not work. So, Mr. Wilson, you were right. I was there before Mr. Wilson arrived,
I want you to call him I want you to call him Deacon Robert Wilson.
Oh, Deacon Robert Wilson.
And I want you to say, I
right.
apologize.
That's right. I'm sorry that I did not get to the front seat, because I was looking for the plug to tape the program for the day, because I know Ms. Luper was going to make a wonderful speech, and I wanted it for future references. But unfortunately, my tape recorder did not work in the plug that they showed me that was available in the church, and was always to the back of the church.
Now, Mrs. Hunter, now you know you're AME. Now you're going to come here and tell us that at Fifth Street we have plugs that don't work.
I'm not saying it was the plug.
Now, okay, now what was it?
Tape recorder.
It was one or the other.
I know it didn't. It worked before I left. My tape recorder worked before I left home. I got there and plugged it up. It didn't take one thing.
Well, you're going to be in some serious trouble
if
that plug works.
So, well, I'm not saying that the plug doesn't work. I said in the first beginning that it was either the plug or the tape recorder, because I know that I did not get a tape, and I was sorry that I did not carry my other machine where I could have used just the dry cell battery. but I was just so sure that I was going to. I had extension cords and all of that, reaching all around.
Okay,
and
but
had
you're
to tell
saying,
people, don't
okay,
step, don't stumble over the cord, don't
I'm going to ask the
stumble.
deacon to go
So,
check that plug.
I'm not going to, I didn't say it was the plug. I said it was one or the other. That was the plug
Okay.
that they showed me, and I plugged it in, and it didn't work. That's all I said. It didn't work. I didn't tape. I didn't get anything on the tape.
But it was the 22nd annual day for the deacons and the deaconesses at the Fifth Street Baptist Church. The theme was an enriched life by faithful stewardship. Devotion was led by Mrs. Ford, Mr. Glover, Mrs. Posey, and Brother Albritton. A warm welcome was given by Mrs. Merle Wynn, and Mrs. Jewel Sanders responded to the welcome. The deacon sang two selections. Mrs. Theo Matthews introduced the speaker. The offering was given by Mr. Tigg, or was conducted by Mr. Tigg, Mr. Barber, and Mrs. Alberta James. Mrs. Matthews stood tall as she recognized the guests from the various churches, and finally Mr. Wilson, Deacon Wilson, gave his remarks, and Pastor Bradford had the closing say. Yes, I would like to personally now thank the deacons and deaconesses of the Fifth Street Baptist Church and the people that came to celebrate the 22nd annual day. Lady Ruth Hunter has been talking about the Equity Committee. Oh, she wanted to get on that Equity Committee. I'm happy today to announce that the Equity Committee met. And there was no Lady Ruth Hunter invited to participate on that committee. Now, it's interesting to note, and I want you, those of you in Oklahoma City, you've been calling me complaining about classes that are dropped at Moon Middle School. You say you aren't getting vocal music and you're not getting the counter program. Don't call me. Call your board member. His name is Dr. Muse. Now, you call the board because we told you that there's no such animal as segregated schools. We told you that, whether it's in the first grade, second grade, third grade, or fourth grade. Now, I know one thing. If you don't like the situation, a bond issue is coming up, and you need to get with that Board of Education, the superintendent and all, and talk your business. Now, don't be a coward. Now, we have so many people that are afraid. They are afraid of being fired. They are what have you. But one thing about Clara Luper, if the man that takes care of the birds and the butterflies will certainly take care of me, and I don't worry about it, because when a board is wrong, it's wrong. We were talking about the situation in in Enid, Oklahoma, where a man dressed as a Ku Klux Klan. But did you know, in the Oklahoma City school system, I saw with my own eyes a white teacher dressed as a black bag woman in the Oklahoma City school system celebrating Halloween. I appreciate the questions that are coming in. We will not have time to ask them here, but we will see to it that you talk to Mr. Sconzo, and I would like for him, he will get on the telephone with you. We do not have that kind of time, but we do have time to tell you about the Watkins Stevens Skyview Convalescent Nursing Home. Clean, a home for the sick and the aged, 24 hours nursing service. Mrs. Betty R. Lynch is the administrator. Mrs. Estella Bug is the director of nursing. Phyllis Chambers is a secretary. Anita Johnson is the social and activity director. Hattie Young is the LPN. Now, when you go out there, there will be hot food carts for keeping the food warm, and you can be satisfied that your friends will be taken care of. If you're looking for a daycare center, I want you to go to Thompson's Dina's Daycare Center, 1643 Northeast 50th Street and 2611 Northeastern here in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. We have special harvesting greetings to you from Mr. Alonia Threet, your faithful bondsman. Mr. Threet has worked for you for years. Now take this telephone number down, 424-3132. That's Mr. Alonian Threet, the man that talks with a soft voice, but a man that will get you out of jail. Alonia Threet, your bondsman. That's 424-3132 here in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. I would like to thank those of you that are ordering my book, the Clara Luper's book, Behold the Walls. And at this very minute, many of you have criticized me because I didn't have the funeral and death announcements. I'm sorry, Onita was not here, and sometimes I get out here too late to do it. But I'm never too late to tell you about Todd's Body Shop, located at 1700 Northeastern here in Oklahoma City. If you have a dent in your car, if you need something about that car's body, Go to Todd's Body Shop, 1700 North Eastern. The telephone number is 424-4671. And here's Onita with the funeral and death announcements.
Ralph Funeral Home announces the following services. Services for Mr. Andrew McKinney of 1313 Northeast 45th will be Monday at 11 a.m. at the Evangelistic Baptist Church. Funeral service for Mr. Homer L. Hubbard, 2200 North Bath, will be Monday at 11 a.m. at the Emmanuel Baptist Church. Funeral service for Mr. Thomas Hubspeck of Oklahoma City will be Monday at 2:30 in the chapel of the Raw Funeral Home. Funeral service for Mr. Alfred Daote of 3009 Southwest 95th will be Wednesday at 11 a.m. in the chapel of the Raw Funeral Home. Funeral service for Mrs. Annie V. Jackson of 809 Northeast 24th Street will be Friday at 11 a.m. at the Allen Chapel, AME Church. Funeral services for Mrs. Mamie Harlan of Oklahoma City is pending with the Raw Funeral Home. Temple Funeral Home announces the following services. Services for Mr. Jimmy Williams, Jr. of Oklahoma City will be at 11 a.m. Thursday in the chapel of the Raw Funeral Home. Funeral service for Mrs. Verdi Haywood of Oklahoma City will be Saturday at 11 a.m. in the chapel of the Temple Funeral Home. Services for infant Kawana Washington of Oklahoma City will be Wednesday at 1 p.m. in the chapel of the Temple Funeral Home. McKay announces the following services. Services for Mrs. Marguerite Wedgeworth of 2212 North Kellam will be Tuesday at 11 a.m. at the Avery Chapel, CME Church. Services for Mrs. Willie Hicks, 2221 East Madison, is pending with the McKay Funeral Home. We would like to say to the families tonight, we are never alone. There is one who shares our every burden, one who cares. We are never alone. God has ordained that in every need we are sustained, for he knows of the sparrow fall, and he is watching over all. And back to Clara.
Onita, did you give a listing of Mrs. Aline Willis? Do you have anything about Mrs. Aline Wills, who is the mother-in-law of Betty Wedgeworth? I would certainly like to have more information. We need to know when that funeral will be held.
No, I sure don't.
Mr. Davis's family from Boley, Oklahoma, Everett Dick Davis, the family would like to say thank you to all of you here in Oklahoma City that remembered them during the death of their father. That's Mr. and Mrs. Charles Davis. In fact, the entire Davis family would like to say thanks for remembering them. The Shady View Nursing Home has a long tradition. Mr. Brown has taken the same attitude that his mother had, productive service. And she carried on for years, and her business was handed over to her son, and he has the same attitude toward hard work as his mother. This is the Clara Luper Radio Show, and those of you that would like to be with me during the holidays, I want you to be sure and call me. You may call me at 424-3949. Oh, that musical is Tuesday. I thank you down in Lexington, Oklahoma. That by invitation only. So maybe if I get an invitation, I sure would like to get an invitation down in Lexington. Let me tell you a sad story. Bobby Battle filed a case against the federal prison system at El Reno, Oklahoma. And do you know what they did to Bobby Battle? At 3:45 a.m., they got him up and rushed him to a prison in Texas, near Texarkana. They didn't give him any reasons why he was being moved. They took his eyeglasses and his law books and moved him to Texarkana, Texas, because he filed a suit against them. He was the one that told us that there was a black man that had died out there as a result of some fluids and things that he was working with. And then the religious leader from Oregon was here, and he reported the same thing that Bobby Battle had reported, the conditions of that prison. Now, what we've got to do is to call for a federal investigation of the prison. Now, I don't know whether a federal investigation should be the one, but somebody got to get out to El Reno and investigate that situation. Now, for the last minute of this broadcast, I would like to say to each one of you young people, stay out of trouble. I want you to take your black hands and your white hands and your red hands and look at your hands and say, with these hands, I shall not steal, I shall not shoplift, because I think the people that's buying these stolen goods should also be arrested. And it's a pity that we have a black newspaper in Oklahoma City that it seems to me, now this is my thinking, that's committed to destroying people. Why can't we get a picture, a headline of some of the progressive things that are happening in Oklahoma City? No one has seen anything like happened at Tabernacle Baptist Church like last Sunday, but did you get any headline news? No. We're still with a newspaper that's in the basement, I think, that's in the basement of he say, they say, she say, and scared to come up on the first floor where plans are being made, where programs are being initiated. And I want to say to those of you in Oklahoma City, I read black newspapers from all over this country. I have in my hand now The Call. I have never seen headlines that's dedicated to destroying people. May I close today by saying that you cannot plant potatoes and reap tomatoes. You have to reap exactly what you sow. This is Clara Luper saying I love you, and thank God for Deacon Wilson that corrected Mrs. Hunter. Clara Luper saying, be sure and buy my book. Those of you that want the film, Brother President, please call us. Thank you, and I do love you.
The views expressed in the program just heard were those of our guests.